Good morning, everybody out there in Jilly Juice land. So now I really understand why the Georgia Guidestones exist, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. I mean, with the amount of information we are galvanizing right now and the amount of substantiation just in my world, and then looking at the world as a whole, I tell you what, there is a reason why for the Georgia Guidestones. And so those that resist the Georgia Guidestones are probably the ones that are going to be washed away. The ones that don't know about the Georgia Guidestones, well, you know where that's going to happen. You know what's going to happen there. They're not aware, so whatever. And the ones that are aware of the Georgia Guidestones and understand the premise of it, you will survive because you will see the other side of the argument. Okay? Because when you're in it, you can't see it. When you finally step out of yourself and you finally step out of your situation, you will see why there are two sides to every argument. And so if you take a side, then yeah, you probably won't survive this new world. So the Georgia Guidestones, guiding reproduction wisely is very important. I have been harping on this whole thing with the sanpaku eyes. Thank God for my people in my community like Stevie G and John Oakes and Bridget and, all of you guys, Tanya, all of you guys, Christina Morris, all of you, I'm telling you, you guys give me so much data when it is needed at very opportune times. And then I'm like, oh my God, I see the bigger picture. And so Connie, one of my Jilly Juice people, she saw that video about me talking about the sanpaku eyes, and she's like, fantastic post. I never had a name for sanpaku eyes in all these years. I worked in a facility with children taken from their parents. I can definitely vouch for this. I abruptly quit this job because one specific little girl who I truly was afraid of would kill me in my sleep. She already pulled a knife on her older sister. She was only 9 years old. I see this trait in many, many people. Good info. Thanks. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen posts with, our county fair, and someone is shooting a video or they're taking a picture of young people who are stamping on a fish, a goldfish that they won at one of their things. Okay? Like, you see no regard for life in some of these youth out there. We are that's why we're in a reset, and that's why the government and all the powers that be want to now guide reproduction carefully, because we have prescription drugs, we have illicit drugs, we have people with so many compound predispositions, so many predatory behavior that's being compounded in now their offspring. And so their offspring are going to be exhibiting some of these characteristics, if not more than what their parents have already given them, because of new viruses. See, you have a pure data like a virus. It's just pure data. Okay? Viruses are hopping along, doing its thing, going from host to host and whatever. And all of a sudden this virus hits a host that has all this mutated crap that's going on. All this glitching viral data, anger and depression and anxiety and all this stuff. And so that information from that virus that came from wherever is now being subverted. And it's also being relatively weaponized. And so what used to be a very pure virus with just pure information has now been turned into some kind of monster when it hits a body that doesn't know how to take on that data, that already has major predispositions, already has anger issues, already has a lot of just swirling chemistry that causes that information to manifest in lack of empathy, sanpaku eyes, and other health issues. And so viruses are only intellectual parasites looking for a host. That's all they are. They're just data. But when it hits a specific body, it turns more than just data. It turns into whatever that person, whatever spirit and energy that person is holding, and it gets expounded and exacerbated, and that's why you're seeing everybody glitching out there. That's why they call it the zombie apocalypse, the CDC. Because when you have something as highly energetic as this virus out there in a piezoelectric environment with the 5G, the Wi-Fi, all the different people doing their thing, it makes these viruses so strong, and then people's energy makes the intentions of people that much more targeted, energetic, and very, I don't know, it just makes things more magnified. And so that's why the CDC coined that term, the zombie apocalypse, because yeah, you're seeing it. I mean, look at the have you ever seen a story of flight attendants having to deal with someone hitting them, somebody, attacking them? I mean, where you have to have a president go on there and say, okay, we're going to double the fines for anyone that misbehaves up in the air. That's what I'm saying. This virus is doing a number on the population. That right there is an indicator that maybe you should stay home and stay safe, because right now the world is glitching from this virus on bodies with predispositions, because we've allowed so much reproduction, and yes, we wanted innovation, but now it's coming to at a detriment. Now there's no more innovation. Now we're just spawning all these demon seeds. And no one wants to intervene in their child's. When they see indicators in their children, they don't want to intervene. They're like, oh no, my kid's perfect. My kid's great. But you have all these kids that take on these specific characteristics of one side of the equation or the other side. You have kids that are very highly aggressive, other kids that just don't have any kind of spine to be able to protect themselves. And so now you have one side of the world's going to be a predator, the other side of the world's going to be a victim. And then you have this clashing all the time. And so that's why the Georgia Guidestone says, now we got to guide reproduction carefully. Well, I can understand that. Maintain humanity under 500 million. I get that too. Balancing nature, all this stuff. I mean, that's the same thing with maintaining 500 million. But the Georgia Guidestones definitely has an intention because of you're seeing the outcome. Because, I mean, right now, let's say they did preemptively release a virus. I mean, it may have happened just like, in weapons of war, biological warfare is not out of the question. I mean, it may have happened already, and they're still trying to find out, where it originated from. Everyone can speculate. We all have ideas, but no matter what, whoever it came from, biological warfare is real. And it impacts communities with the most predispositions, with the most issues. And so, the countries that are having the most issues are the ones that have the most predispositions. The most, and so it's no surprise that America is having a lot of issues, because we are the last great experiment. I mean, that's what George Washington said in the beginning. We are the great experiment. They already had hundreds and hundreds of years in Europe. And so, they're like, okay, well, America is the new land. We'll have the Constitution. We'll have the Bill of Rights. We're going to have biotech. After World War II, we're going to bring in all the scientists that were doing all these experiments back over there, back then, that were inhumane, yes. But now we've kind of softened it and gave us the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. So that way we tell people, okay, this is what we're doing. We're letting you know this is not really 100%. It's an experiment, and this could be the outcome. And so you are choosing whether or not to be part of the experiment or not. Now, of course, everyone's having an issue with these mandates, but no one's really mandating. They're just telling you, okay, yeah, you can't work here if you don't want to have this. And everyone chooses to work where they want to work. Okay? And some people have backed themselves into a hole. And so viruses are intellectual parasites looking for a host. You can't kill it. You can't kill a parasite looking for a host, because it's intellectual energy. That's all viruses are. They are out of the universe. They're part of the whole image. The electrical impulses, matter, acids, gases. It's all part of the solar system, our galaxy. Viruses are the crux of the environment. And so when there is a splice and dice, potentially, virus that's been released, you can welcome that information by allowing your body to upgrade to that level of that virus and the environment. But what happens is that when viruses are released, no matter where they came from, it's an evolution that people have not been taught how to adapt to. And so that's why evolution can be a double-edged sword. You either rise to the level of evolution or you fall to the level of evolution. And so you're seeing a lot of people fall to the level of evolution and then are also glitching on their way out the door. And they're bearing babies and children with predatory instincts. And so that's why this whole Georgia Guidestones, okay, guide reproduction carefully, that's why maybe it's good to check your kids' eyes, check your husband's eyes, because you might be able to take some salt, do a few waterfalls with the J juice, and start releasing those demons, so to speak. But I'm telling you, if someone is that possessed, I'm saying it in quotes because that's very theoretical when you think about it, they're not going to want to release those demons. Those demons have been their friends forever. And that's the thing with cancer disease, chronic illness, and autoimmune disorders and sickness. People hold on to their demons like they're best friends. I mean, you've seen pictures out there all over the internet where you have this demon, this little devil thing right there, putting his arm around a person. That right there is like an allegory telling you that people will keep the demons as their friends. Okay, they will not give up their demons. Those are what makes them who they are. If they were to release those demons, who are they? They're not equipped. Most people are not equipped to know how to release the demons and then find a way to stand on their own 2 feet. And so I see a lot of truth and a lot of facts in some of the pictures out there that are meant to be artistic, but there's a deeper message within them. Okay? And so then you have the science community, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is all about, oh yeah, science this. And yeah, science is correct, but it's all relative to intention in your belief system. Scientists are not supposed to legislate morals. But you do have scientists who are saying, well, you're supposed to die one day. I mean, though people say that it's not the scientists that are saying this, that are selling all the morals and everything, it's the pharmaceuticals and the drug makers and all that. But they're also scientists. Okay, when you work for a pharmaceutical company, no matter what, regardless of your intention, you are a scientist. And then you're also adopting and promoting a belief system that everyone should die someday. And then, yes, then all the science around your drugs and all of the different remedies and therapeutics are going to be correct because the intention is to destroy at the micro level, destroy the evolution. That's what these vectors do. Yes, they may have a little bit of knowledge in them, but the real main part of these vectors, regardless, is to trigger the body to create antibodies against your own potential evolution. So this COVID really is not the enemy. It's the enemy on bodies that were never taught how to deal with new viruses. And so, yes, people then deplete and they get cannibalized by the energy from the viruses trying to upgrade them, as well as the environment and the people around them and their lifestyles and belief systems and all the different remedies and all the different, herbs and extracts and things that they take in reaction to the evolution. And so, yeah, when you're never taught to understand food, to understand salt, understand viruses, understand pain, then then it's very easy to use science to say that, yeah, viruses are the enemy because you already set people up to fail. And so when you live and die from evolution, what originally was your friend is now your enemy. When you live and die from evolution, what originally was your friend is now your enemy. Your ability to become evolved has been weaponized against you. Now, if you understand salt and food and viruses and pain, they can neutralize those intentions of somebody weaponizing your own evolution against you. Because that's exactly what vectors do. No matter how much press, like, oh yeah, it lessens the energy. It doesn't matter if it lessens the energy. We get it, but instead of saying, okay, let's lessen the energy, which I understand the premise of, why don't you teach people how to build up their bodies and deal with pain and use salt as that medium, and then just help them along the way of the evolutionary process instead of compounding their issues with more of the de-evolutionary protocols like taking out organs and bypassing the first and second lines by sucking out the mucus and giving people intravenous ways of doing things and taking away food from them, being a nutritionist, a starvation therapist. Why doesn't the medical holistic system teach people how to actually deal with evolution. Oh no, because the money is in managing the de-evolution from cradle to grave. From cradle to grave. That ought to tell you it's in plain freaking sight. But then, right, this is the thing. We have so many people who are brainwashed, who like their lifestyle, who want to, become famous in their own right, become popular, social capital, make all this money for who knows how long, wants to seem like they're doing right by the system. They could give a shit less what they produce. They could give a shit less about their own life and the future of themselves and their kids. And it's all about now, which I can get. Everything's about now. However, you can't predict nowadays that you're going to have 80 years ahead of you, or 20 years, or 30 years, or 40 years. And so gone are the days where you're like, yeah, I'm 30 years old and I have at least 30, 40 years ahead of me before I start falling apart, really, or retire. And so we have a lot of people banking on the old ways when we're in a very different world and a different environment. Maybe you could get away with saying I have 20, 30 years left a couple years ago. Maybe. But even that was in question because the drums were beating louder with all this stress around everything. But with now this virus that's been mutating, and then we have all the political stress that's going on, and we have people believing that there's an enemy out there they have to go fight against. It's in question that you're going to have even 5 years for some of you. Some of you are fighting cancer disease. You've already done your chemotherapy. You're already dealing with chemotherapy right now, or you're doing cannabis, or you're doing the radiation, and you are cutting off decades off your life, if not even you may have a year or two left, maybe. And so, some people don't really understand. And that's the thing. That's what really is the crux, is that we have a lot of ignorance. We have a lot of people who are cured in a very, very narrow state of mind, and also very predatory or constant victim. And so it's I really speak to those that are on the fence. I really don't speak to the major predators out there because they're going to do what they're going to do. I don't speak to the major victims out there because that's the demon that they want to hold with them because that's their identity. I'm speaking to those that are trying to get out of their predatory nature and get out of their victimhood nature. Those that are happy with their predatory and victimhood nature, you can't talk to them anyways because that, again, they have their arm around the demon. That's their best friend. That's their, whatever. And that's fine. That's what people need to have to feel like, that there's something. I get it. I'm not going to take away what someone has been dependent on their whole life. But those that really want to change, those that really see the value in understanding the salt and the food and pain and viruses, okay, they have an opportunity. It doesn't mean that they're going to actually understand this and see it through all the way because it's painful. The JJ mentality and upgrading to the level of this environment and getting away from all the politics, religion, and science stuff that's very divisive, can be very divisive. It's not easy, and you're going to put yourself on an island, especially when you have all your friends and family pressuring you to take part in this, and that. And when you do the JJs, you become very sensitive to the environment and sensitive to the people around you. And all of a sudden, you don't want to go out there and hang out, go to the movies, or go to the bars, or go to concerts, or go to the family gatherings. And so then you're being pulled in different directions. And then when you want to stay on your own, everyone's like, well, why are you staying? Why are you being antisocial? Why are you doing this? And so then people are trying to figure out how to explain. They're changing the way they look at things, and it will put them in a solitary world, and that's difficult. You almost have to just assume that you're going to be on your own, and that you want to see very little people because you don't want to have to keep evolving to the mutating viruses out there. That's the hardest part of the JJ world, is the fact that you have to start extricating yourself out of the mainstream lifestyles. And that I didn't even anticipate would be a major hurdle, because some people's lives have been built around being around so many people and out there all the time that they can't sit at home and just chill out and just deal with stuff, because their whole life has been around being around people all the time. And so, either you're going to be in a cured state doing J juice all the time, and then your body gets cannibalized by the salt in the J juice over a long period of time, and by the viral energy when you're around those crowds of people, mask or no mask, I don't care, vax or no vax. And so, yeah, you can't halfway do this. It's like an all or nothing thing. And so, but if you're strong enough, like there's a few people that are strong enough, only one person I know that has actually proven to me that they're strong enough to handle both dealing with people on a sort of a little bit of a basis. And it's not like he's around a bunch of, but John Oakes has proven that, yes, he understands the power of pain. He understands the power of the words and what's behind the words. He just still has to go out there and do construction and deal with clients. He understands feeling the mucus and all that stuff. Maybe he wears a mask, maybe he doesn't. He understands eating food. He still has to raise kids and work with their significant other in a joint venture, making sure that everything is taken care of. That's the only person I can see right now that is working full-time, raising children in a partnership that understands how to work both sides of the world. But remember, he's a very strong dude, okay? But I haven't seen anyone out there tell me, oh yeah, I'm working full-time and I feel this stuff. I take a rest when I need to. I'm eating Big Macs and this and that. I'm trying to keep up with the level of evolution. Okay, I mean, there's Christina Morris that when she goes out there and shops for like 2 hours or whatever, she does feel all the information out there, like the mucus is coming out because she's dealing with people out there. When she's at home, finally recovering from being out there, but she's not working full time. She's retired. Okay, and so there's only a handful of people that I know that can handle the very virally electric world. Okay, and understand how to feed that energy and evolve. See, that's the main thing. It's not just surviving. Yeah, surviving is one thing. But you want to thrive and you want to evolve and you want to have more clarity of thinking. Tanya was saying yesterday that she's finally now eating all the food in the food supply. She knows when she goes out, she says she comes back home and she sleeps because she didn't realize that that's the reason why she sleeps when she comes home after shopping. Because she has to go now and adapt to the level of the environment that she just left. And she still feels the pains because, yes, pain is the body regenerating. And so when, she was taken to a nutritionist doctor trying to withhold food from her at 9 years old, having to deal with that coming to surface, okay, that speaks to not only that issue that she'll probably deal with, probably many other issues that will be coming to surface. And all of you guys that don't want to be in a cured state of decline, you're going to have to deal with all the PTSD from the past, present, and potentially the futures, latent stuff that hasn't been exposed yet, because your body goes through levels and levels and levels of healing, just like you had levels and levels and levels of PTSD that you have cured but never dealt with, never released, but you put it in a cured state. And so me dealing with that whole alcohol thing when my husband was hit by a drunk driver, and then I had that emotional video that many people were not happy with. Okay? And I get it. But I see the writing on the wall in a lot of people in a lot of worlds out there. And it's only going to get worse as time marches on in this crazy environment. And if people are not intervening before things get bad, the snowball effect becomes astronomical, and then everybody gets affected by people's actions. And so I have my own latent stuff that comes to surface that I wasn't even aware that was still bothering me, but it was. So some things come out of the blue, some things get triggered by events and by things that you've pushed down because you don't want to deal with it, because you're trying to fit in, or you're trying to deal with your situation and survive your situations. Okay, so you saw all my survival techniques. I can fit in when I need to because I have to. But when I don't have to anymore, then I'm like, okay, I'm done trying to fit in now. Now I'm like, I got to protect myself and protect whatever's around me. I can't be involved in all this other crap out there. There's too much shit going on. And I'm trying to survive. My husband's trying to survive. We have things we got to get done. My dog's trying to survive. This is where it's about you taking care of yourself. This is about you dealing with your own shit. And so, yeah, the whole JJ mentality is forcing you to deal with yourself. And many people don't want to deal with themselves. They want to keep, distracting themselves with everybody else's issues, everybody else's politics, religion, and science. And so we have a lot of people who are projecting and trying to legislate morals when they haven't even figured out their own morals yet, because they never dealt with any of their crap, because it's so deep down inside that when they finally do the J juice, they're like, holy crap. Some can handle it, some cannot. That's why people get off the J juice, because they couldn't handle. Or they were in such a cured state that they don't feel anything. But then, people, who wants to be on the J juice forever? No, I'm not on the J juice anymore. I'm done with it. Now my body's finally regulated. And so when someone gets off the J juice, and then they still feel like, oh my God, the J juice isn't working more, I still feel pain. Well, yeah, because there's new viruses in the environment. You got to deal with stuff, and you probably hadn't taken care of all the stuff in your predispositions because you were in a cured state. You never got off the J juice in time, and to actually deal with your shit, you put yourself in a cured state, which is great for a minute, but you're taking the J juice, so then you finally get off it. Now you're exposed to a new virus. Now you're feeling stuff, but you're like, and so instead of doing the J juice because it didn't work because you're feeling stuff, now you're taking all your pills, powders, supplements, and detoxes and turning to all the pain relievers out there. That's what I know is going on, because JJ doesn't taste good, and you don't want to be on it forever. I forced myself to do it because I needed to see exactly what the outcome was. And I saw the different outcomes. I lost a lot of weight. I got off it, ate a bunch of food, didn't feel stuff for a while. And then the COVID came around, and I definitely felt something. Maybe I did a few waterfalls like in 2020, and then not. And then I was done. Okay. I fed my headaches with the meat and milk and all that stuff. And then finally I went around people with this really aggressive, variant that really got into my lungs, and I think I did only 2 shots to help move things around, and that was it. 2 shots of the J juice, that was it for the 2 weeks. I coughed everything out. I dealt with it. And then even since then, since the June, July situation, I had it for about maybe a couple weeks, maybe a good month. I had the really aggressive variant. And then I would catch certain things every so often, but now I just cough it out, and I don't have the reaction like I did back in June, July from that May exposure. And so I think every single time you get exposed to a new variant, the symptoms are less and less. So as long as you actually dealt with all of your stuff, because what happens is when you finally get off the J juice and you deal with all your stuff, it's going to be a lot. And when you do get off the JJ finally, and viruses come in, they're going to upgrade you, and they're going to bring up stuff that you're not prepared for. Viruses upgrade people. They are your friends, but they can be an enemy to people who are not prepared for that evolution. And so then people react to it by taking J juice or taking all their different remedies, their turmeric and their honey and their elderberry syrup, kombucha and apple cider vinegar in reaction to, and then they start depleting and weakening their first and second lines of defense until then they have no choice but to deal with vital organ failure or cancer, disease, and chronic illness. So anyways, oh Lordy. So anyways, yeah. And this is why I say, true friends. See, here's the thing, this is about legislating morals, because we have so many schools of thought on what you should do in reaction to cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders, and all that. And we have a lot of people out there that are dealing with all of these issues, and they have friends and family who don't know anything but the medical holistic system or all their little pills and powders and supplements. But there are behaviors that people do exhibit that you don't have to offer a remedy to, okay? There are behaviors people exhibit that are so self-destructive, and their friends and the family are going like, holy crap, they don't intervene, they don't step in, they don't say, okay, this is really not okay. They don't put boundaries down as far as, people's behaviors. And so it's like watching a train wreck. And so, I mean, offering solutions is a very touchy subject. And so that's why I do what I do when it comes to Facebook Lives, because that's the only way I can offer a solution without getting in people's faces or legislating morals or feeling like I'm attacking somebody. Okay? I found a medium that will speak to people's specific situations without actually speaking to them directly, because it's not my place to go and speak to someone directly. I'm not their doctor. I'm not their guru. I'm not their confidant. I'm just a person who observes things and has some kind of opinion or some kind of solution that, is very different than out there in the mainstream and the alternative mainstream. Okay? Because everything out there in the mainstream and the alternative mainstream is all about suppressing pain, suppressing energy, diets, and demonizing viruses and being afraid of salt. And so if you have been exposed to my information, and many of you have, I don't know how many of you are still doing the pills, powder supplements, and detoxes or using JJ as a cure. But when you see somebody effing up in their world and doing something that it's like, not say that you should go and legislate morals, but, first figure out, I don't even know. I am so trying to find a way to be strategic and how to get people to understand this, but I can't get people in my world to understand this. So there's no way I could offer really any kind of strategy for you guys to figure out how to intervene. But there are behaviors out there, like people who are excessive drug addicts, alcoholics, just all in out, just assholes, or not being considerate of other people's feelings or whatever. And then no one steps in and says, okay, hey, this is not appropriate. So that's really where I'm coming from. As far as the solutions to all of this stuff, these problems out there, as far as like health issues, you know what? I don't even know how to strategize how you would tell someone about this, because we have such an ingrained philosophy that pain is equals death that I don't even know how you would even approach this. And so, you know what? Be freaking lucky. I'm just going to say this. Be lucky that you have been listening to me. If you are still watching me, you are still doing this. Be freaking lucky that you have access to this information, and that you know that you're not going to pass away from symptoms, that you know that you have first and second lines of defense, and you know that you can use all the food supply, not just your organic and non-GMO gluten-free crap, but all the food supply at your disposal to support you in all this. Okay? Because I even have people that were on the J juice that are vegans and vegetarians that thought that they could do the J juice forever. And they're vegans and vegetarians, and they're very, very skinny, and they don't want to evolve. And so they had to extricate relations with me, as far as this, because I kept saying, you need to have some meat. You need to have milk, cheese, eggs. And they are vegan and vegetarian. They're not even lacto vegan vegetarian. They are vegan and they're living off of freaking twigs and nuts. And so even speaking to those people is like impossible. So I can only imagine all of you. So here's the thing. I just take myself out of I can't listen to people speak. I can't be around people who are always bitching about their health issues or their relationship issues or the drama in their life because of predispositions. I can't. So I just take myself out of the situation. I give people the information, but I don't foster that energy. I don't support that energy. And so, yeah, you put yourself in an island, yes. Oh, but I want to have a relationship with my friends and family and all that. Okay. But that's a lot of draining energy. It really is. Because most people's lives are driven by health issues, drama issues, and relationship issues. Or they want you to buy something from them to support them in all of their businesses. And so then friendships and relationships are not about really just enjoying each other's company. It's then about, getting drunk together or buying my stuff or here, support my kid or here, go to this rock concert so we can all go get smashed together. I mean, that's really what relationships are about nowadays. It's not about really cultivating the brain and being innovative to improve society and improve family and friends. It's all about the distractions and here, let me leverage this and let me leverage that. And what can I get from you from this? What can I get from you? And I'm just tired of all that. It's like, I feel like I'm being sucked dry. And so I just extricate myself from everything, because everybody who is on a decline are going to be so needy. They're going to take everything from you in some different way possible. And then you don't realize that you're being chewed off in different parts of your world. And at some point that has to stop. at some point, because you don't have nothing left to give. You got to save yourself. So that's the thing about, maybe true friends are the ones that don't support your lifestyle. They just walk away because they can't do anything to help that friend. Because that friend's not going to listen to you. And so this is where I'm redefining relationships. And it's very, very difficult because of our society. Everybody is on the major decline. And so you find a few people out there that just like you and enjoy your company. And you go for coffee and you talk about, the future. You talk about what, you want to improve in your life and what you're trying to work on as far as goals. But those are very few and far between. Because most people are all about their kids or all about, their job, which I can understand that. Or all about, their health issues or their relationship issues or the drama between this person and that person and whatever. Or, yeah, let's go get drunk and let's go get this and, and so anyways. And so anyways, I believe in life. I promote life and I want people to live and I want them to face their issues if they want to. My mom kind of sort of was like that as far as just, I can go to coffee with her and talk about stuff. But as far as the J juice and the potential of it, she didn't want to hear anything. And that right there hurt me because she did teach me a lot about understanding people and understanding their intentions, looking for the liability in situations, okay, because she came from a lawyer background. She's very, very, very heavy-handed on a lot of things, yes, as you know that, you've seen me. But she definitely did teach me the value of understanding people's intentions and using kids as leverages and learning how to walk away from situations that are not healthy. And so that I could probably give her a lot of credit for. But what really truly hurt me was the fact that she could not listen to my information about the J juice. And she has her issues, but I want to keep her alive, but she doesn't want to be alive. And how do you foster that? When someone doesn't want to not only face her demons, I'm not looking for an apology from her either. I just want her to face whatever issues you have and to stay alive because I do value her intellect. She's a very smart woman. Probably too smart for her own good. And so, so having that as someone that I revered and everyone, it's like not many people can live up to that type of image, so to speak. And so, yeah, I do hold myself to a higher standard. I do hold everybody around me to a high standard. And so it's very hard to be around people who are not holding themselves to a higher standard. And so, if you're, oh shit. And so if you're going to be influenced, raise the bar. Okay, raise the bar. But anyways, I'm going to go. But I just want you to understand that this is the world that we're living in right now. And people are on the decline and they will take you down with them, if they can. And this is where you have to be strong. And this is where you have to really figure out what's worth it or not in this environment. Because the beautiful sunshine is very deceptive. The beautiful sunshine and all the different opening up society is very deceptive. I mean, like very deceptive. And when you start going back to what you used to do in this crazy society, it will cannibalize you. And that's kind of the intention. We are in the Georgia Guidestones. But there's a good thing because we are fostering a lot of negative predatory energy out there and victimhood out there. And so this is where, mothers out there, look at your kids' eyes. Fathers out there, look at your kids' eyes. Look at your husband and wife's eyes. I looked at my husband's eyes yesterday. 2 whites, not 3 whites. And so I'm like, okay, good. I'm not fostering a predatory person here. Okay? But I might have allowed him to release some demons when he did the J juice a couple of years ago. Okay? But we're in a great reset, and for a reason. Stay home, stay safe, and figure out what you can handle, and don't allow your friends and family to destroy you, because they will. be the stronger person in your community, in your circle. All right? Bye.